The wine had gone bad, not just sour in taste, but dangerous. Entire batches ruined, livelihoods collapsing, traditions threatened. Farmers blamed the air, merchants blamed bad luck. Some said it was punishment from nature itself. No one could explain why one barrel survived while the next turned toxic. Then a quiet man with no medical degree, no reputation as a revolutionary, and no intention of starting a scientific war stepped in and said the problem was alive, invisible, everywhere, and killable. That claim would change how humanity understood disease, food, medicine, and even death itself. It would challenge centuries of belief and ignite furious opposition from the scientific establishment. And it would make Louis Pasteur one of the most influential figures in human history. Louis Pasteur was born on December 27, 1822, in the small town of Dole, France. His father was a tanner and a former soldier in Napoleon's army, a disciplined man who valued hard work, patriotism, and persistence. Pasteur was not a child prodigy. In fact, as a student, he showed more talent for drawing and painting than for science. His early academic performance was average at best. What Pasteur did possess, however, was relentless focus. He trained as a chemist, not a physician, and it was through chemistry that he began asking questions others had long accepted as settled. In the mid-19th century, one of those unquestioned beliefs was spontaneous generation, the idea that life could arise naturally from non-living matter, maggots from meat, microbes from air, decay as an unavoidable mystical process. Pasteur did not believe in mysteries when mechanisms could be found. Through a series of elegant experiments using swan-necked flasks, Pasteur demonstrated that microorganisms came from other microorganisms, not from air itself, but from contamination carried within it. When sterilized broth was protected from airborne particles, it remained sterile indefinitely. Life did not arise spontaneously, it arrived. This discovery laid the foundation for what would later be called germ theory, the idea that microscopic organisms cause fermentation, spoilage, and disease. It was a radical concept, and many prominent scientists rejected it outright. Doctors in particular resisted the implication that their own hands and instruments might be spreading illness. Pasteur did not back down. His work soon moved from theory to impact. France's wine and beer industries were facing economic disaster as products spoiled unpredictably. Pasteur showed that heating liquids to a specific temperature could kill harmful microbes without ruining flavor. The process, later named pasteurization, was simple, scalable, and revolutionary. Food could be made safer, lives could be saved. But Pasteur's most consequential work was yet to come. In the 1860s, silkworm farmers across France were watching their livelihoods collapse as disease wiped out entire populations of worms. Pasteur investigated and discovered that microscopic parasites were responsible and that infected eggs were spreading the disease. By isolating healthy stock, the industry was saved. Once again, an invisible enemy had been identified and controlled. Pasteur began to see a pattern. Microorganisms were not just nuisances, they were agents of transformation. If they could spoil wine and kill silkworms, what else were they doing to humans? At the time, surgery was lethal, not because of the knife, but because of infection. Childbirth was deadly. Hospitals were breeding grounds for disease. Pasteur argued that microbes caused these infections and that cleanliness could prevent them. His ideas inspired others, most notably Lister, to introduce antiseptic practices in surgery. Mortality rates plummeted. Medicine would never be the same. Pasteur's work then took a bold and controversial turn: vaccines. Building on earlier work by Edward Jenner, Pasteur developed vaccines not just by chance observation, but through deliberate laboratory manipulation. He weakened pathogens so they could train the immune system without causing full disease. He successfully developed vaccines for chicken cholera and anthrax, proving their effectiveness through public experiments that silenced many critics. Farmers watched their animals live while unvaccinated herds died. But Pasteur's most famous and ethically complex achievement came with rabies. Rabies was a death sentence. Once symptoms appeared, survival was virtually non-existent. Pasteur had developed an experimental vaccine tested only on animals. Then, in 1885, a 9-year-old boy named Joseph Meister was brought to him after being bitten multiple times by a rabid dog. Pasteur was not a doctor. Treating the boy could have ruined him professionally or worse, but doing nothing would almost certainly kill the child. Pasteur made the decision. Over several days, he administered the experimental vaccine. Joseph Meister survived. The world took notice. Pasteur became an international figure almost overnight. Donations poured in. Governments honored him. In 1887, the Pasteur Institute was founded in Paris, dedicated to research in microbiology, immunology, and infectious disease. It would become one of the most important scientific institutions in the world. Behind the acclaim, however, Pasteur paid a terrible personal price. He suffered multiple strokes that left him partially paralyzed. He worked through exhaustion, pain, and declining health. His wife, Marie Pasteur, played a crucial role, organizing his notes, supporting his work, and helping preserve his legacy. Pasteur was deeply devoted to his family, but his work always came first. He was also fiercely combative. Pasteur defended his ideas aggressively and did not tolerate opposition easily. He believed deeply in his conclusions, and history would largely vindicate him, but his certainty bordered on inflexibility. He was a man driven not just by curiosity, but by conviction. Louis Pasteur died at the age of 72. By then, the world had changed. Diseases were no longer acts of fate. Cleanliness was no longer optional. Vaccination was no longer speculative. Pasteur transformed medicine without ever practicing it. He saved industries without ever owning them, and reshaped public health without holding office. Today, his name is spoken casually, printed on milk cartons, referenced in textbooks, embedded in everyday life. But what he truly gave humanity was something far more profound. He gave us a new way to see the world, a reminder that the most dangerous enemies are often invisible, that progress comes not from accepting tradition, but from questioning it, and that even the smallest discoveries, if pursued with discipline and courage, can ripple outward to save millions. Louis Pasteur once said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." His life proved it.